Attention! Attention please. May I have your attention? Please stay seated as this year's graduates enter the hall. Please rise for the national anthem. Please rise for the national anthem.
Thank you so much for our national anthem. Now, it's a pretty big day. What do you say we take a selfie? Okay. Everybody ready? Smile. Say, class of 2025. There, now it really happened. Boshu Anishinaabe, hello friends. My name is Elizabeth Kronk-Warner and my pronouns are she and hers, and I have the privilege of being and honoring and serving as the Dean of the S.J. Quinney College of Law. I'm very excited to welcome our friends, family, and especially the members of class of 2025. As we do when we gather in large groups, I want to start with our University of Utah Tribal Land Acknowledgement Statement. We acknowledge that this land, which is named for the Ute tribe, is the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Shoshone, Paiute, Goshu, and Ute tribes. The University of Utah recognizes and respects the enduring relationship that exists between many indigenous peoples and their traditional homelands. We respect the sovereign relationship between tribes, states, and the federal government, and we affirm the University of Utah's commitment to a partnership with Native nations and urban Indian communities through research, education, and community outreach activities. And this Salt Lake Valley has been a time, since time immemorial, of a place where people gathered, and so how wonderful that we still do so today to gather as our indigenous ancestors did. We are so pleased to be joined on stage today by what constitutes an incredible faculty. Members of the faculty, would you all please stand and be recognized? You may be seated. I'd like to take a moment to recognize Professor Jency Anderson in particular. Please stand. At the end of this academic year, Professor Anderson will retire, leaving behind an incredibly impressive legacy. She has been with the College of Law since 1999, which is truly remarkable. I know I speak for my colleagues and all of her students when I say that she will be greatly missed. But we wish her all the best in her future endeavors, and we really hope that she won't be a stranger to SJQ. Congratulations, Jency. I also want to acknowledge both Professors George Contreras and Leslie Francis, both of whom were acknowledged last week at the university-wide graduation ceremony. Professor Contreras was recently named a University of Utah Distinguished Professor, and Professor Francis received the Distinguished Faculty Service Award. Congratulations, Professors Contreras and Francis. I would also like to present what our students know is the secret ingredient of the S.J. Quinney College of Law, and that's our staff. The magic that happens during the school year is simply not possible without our fantastic staff. And so I ask these individuals who are working so hard today and volunteering their time, if they're in the audience, to please stand, wave, and be recognized. Thank you. In addition to our wonderful faculty and staff, I would also like to welcome a very special guest who we are honored to host today, and that is Commissioner Melissa Holyoke, who is both an SJQ alum and Commissioner of the United States Federal Trade Commission, and we'll hear more about her later. Now, before the ceremony began, we showed pictures of our graduating students, both as children and now as graduates of the S.J. Quinney College of Law. It is truly remarkable to see how far they have come. Let's reflect on just a few of these pictures. Oh, look at that. Look at those shorts. My goodness, who is that? Oh, it's Andrew Creer from our JD class. Oh, look at those pigtails. Who's that? Oh, it's Beth Burnside from our MLS class. Oh, well, that looks a little older. Oh, look at that car. Oh, it's Dean Heine, our Associate Dean of Academic Affairs. Oh, look at that. Oh, again, a little older. The velour shirt. Yes. Oh, it's Dean Burton. Oh, my goodness. You did it. Oh, shoot. How did that get in there? Geez. All right. Now, what I love about these pictures is that it shows that you can smile after law school. When we first met back at orientation, who would have guessed everything you would overcome? I was excited to see all you would accomplish. I bet you were too. You may not recall, but at orientation, then Associate Dean for Admissions and Financial Aid, Reyes Aguilar, gave your class a word that he thought encapsulated you. And that word was magnitude, which is defined as the great size or extent of something. He could not have picked a better word, as your impact on the College of Law and soon the legal community is of tremendous magnitude. As we celebrate this day and all you have accomplished, it is the perfect time to reflect on our namesake, S.J. Quinney, whose impact also proved to be of a sizable magnitude. S.J. Joe Quinney was a talented lawyer, prominent businessman, and ski industry pioneer. He was a founding partner at the distinguished Salt Lake City law firm of Ray, Quinney, and Nebaker, where he practiced until his death at age 90. A pioneer in establishing Utah's ski industry by founding Alta Ski Area, Quinney was a prime force in the development of Utah's legal and business communities. His enthusiastic, lifelong interest in and support for all art and culture broadened the force of his statewide impact. Like S.J. Quinney, your impact is of tremendous magnitude in so many ways, crucial to our College of Law community and the larger community. You have already made the world a better place and accomplished amazing things despite the tremendous obstacles you have faced. You are truly outstanding. Let's just reflect on some of the things you have accomplished these past few years. Now, audience members, I'm about to share some amazing accomplishments of our graduates, and you're going to want to clap after each one, but if you could hold your applause until I'm done, I'd really appreciate it. So the magnitude of Class of 2025's outreach through the Pro Bono initiative was truly amazing in meeting legal needs of our community regardless of one's capacity to pay. You completed over 1,500 volunteer pro bono hours serving clients in need as part of the college's pro bono initiative. Avery Emery volunteered with the PBI the most, topping off at nearly 50 times volunteering, and they won the Outstanding Pro Bono Student Volunteer Award. Bree Miller logged the most hours of pro bono service at 145 hours of service, both through PBI and Houlihan King. Lauren Harvey is receiving the Utah State Bar's Pro Bono Publico Award for outstanding pro bono service throughout her time at SJQ. The Class of 2025's magnitude extended in many ways, making our S.J. Quinney College of Law community better. Your Student Bar Association, led by President Seth LaPrey, did a fantastic job of hosting many wonderful events throughout the year, as well as working with the College of Law. At the annual Alumni Gala, the SBA gave out its awards, and I was pleased to see these folks were honored for their exceptional contributions to the College of Law, including Mark Ward, who received the Outstanding MLS Colleague Award, Kiwi Hogan, who received the Outstanding 3L Colleague Award, Avery Emery, who received the Outstanding Community Advocate Award, and with 2 awards, President Seth LaPrey received both the Outstanding 3L Mentor and Outstanding Student Leader Award. Further, the magnitude of the Utah Law Review remains unmatched. The Utah Law Review staff advanced the discussion of third-party litigation as their annual symposium focused on third-party funding industry, which has experienced extensive growth and now has an estimated $15 billion in commercial litigation investments. It is also causing rapid changes to the legal profession. We are so thankful to the member of the class of 2025 who served on the law review, including EIC Landon Evans, Kate Menlove, Lauren Harvey, Rebecca Huber, Austin Edens, Rachel Passy, Avery Emery, Adam Snow, Parker Ermet, Jessica Guardio, Andrew Fetter, Eric Love, Zoe Kozlowski, Chantel Black, Anna Heaton, Eben Coates, Enrique Martinez, Emma Nover, Spencer Williams, Zachary Coangelo, Caden Goodenough, Jacob Marks, Paige Sanders, Amber Lundgreen, Natalie Merlin, Lindsay Spiro, Noah White, Lauren Finch, Grace Collins Green, Courtney Gombasso, Paul Helms, Sky McBride, Noah Shepperson, Emily Strong, Kirsten Vanderveld, Dorothy Smith, Bryant Halloway, and Matt Peterson. The magnitude of your reach was not limited to the SBA and the Utah Law Review. For example, Parker Ermet established the Students Helping Students Club, which is the student equivalent of Lawyers Helping Lawyers. Out of hundreds of student organizations here at the University of Utah, SHS was selected as the new Student Organization of the Year and Social Program of the Year for the University of Utah in the academic year 2023-24. This student org has been instrumental in forefronting the mental health issues of all students. In a similar spirit, Haley Wynn, Bree Miller, and Sophie Laswell, each of whom is graduating today, founded Yoga for Stressed Out Students, or YOSOS. Through weekly yoga sessions, they created a space for wellness and community amidst the rigor of law school. And when connection was needed most, Seth LaPrey brought back the beloved ping pong club, reinvigorating a sense of fun and camaraderie that has gone quiet during the pandemic. You also made your mark on competition teams. Austin Edens, Henry Flitton, Becca Huber, Zoe Kozlowski, and Jade Trin represented the College of Law at the Regional Jessup International Moot Court Competition in Portland, Oregon. Andrew Fetter and Maggie Hawley competed in the National Moot Court Competition in Seattle, Washington. Adam Snow, along with his partner, advanced to the Elite 8 out of 66 teams at the National Native American Law Students Association Moot Court Competition in Las Vegas, Nevada, and also won third place overall Best Brief Award. The team of Maria Cantelaro, Spencer Dillon, and Max von Schelming competed in the PACE Environmental Law Moot Court Competition in White Plains, New York, advancing to the quarterfinal round. Courtney Galangasso, Bree Miller, Haley Robertson, and Haley Wynn competed in the TYLA National Trial Competition in Portland, Oregon. The team of Haley Wynn and Courtney Galangasso reached the tournament semifinals, losing to the eventual overall winner, Denver University. The team of Bree Miller and Haley Robertson were one short step behind, one judge's ballot away from joining their teammates in the semifinals. Joshua Allen, Paul Helms, Jacob Mark, and Mitch Smith all competed at the UCLA Transactional Law Competition in Los Angeles. Now, our MLS's students' magnitude of impact has proven equally broad toward making both the world and college a better place. Between both the online and in-person programs, they serve in a wide range of jobs running from senior vice president, social workers, real estate, directors, mentors, CEO, teachers, and more. Over 15 industries are represented within the graduating MLS cohorts. Over 50% of our MLS students are first-generation students, and their average age is 37 years old. Now, the class of 2025 was not one to rest on its laurels, with several students going above and beyond in their contributions to the wider community. Austin Edens represented the University of Utah at the United Nations negotiation of global treaty to regulate lethal autonomous weapon systems, which took place in Geneva, Switzerland. Becca Huber was selected for the fellowship at Auschwitz for the study of professional ethics, which draws on the conduct of legal professionals during World War II to inform modern ethical frameworks. Rachel Prickett Passy served as a student member of the board of the Utah System of Higher Education, representing students at universities throughout the state. Haley Wynn co-authored the article Avoiding Imputed Disqualification with Prospective Clients in the Utah Bar Journal with Keith Call. Josh Allen was a contributing author for a report on nursing home debt collection practices for the National Consumer Law Center, together with Utah Law alum Anna Anderson. Now, Avery Emery co-authored 3 articles with Professor Daniel Aaron. Law and Policy Efforts to Dismantle DEI in the American Journal of Public Health, State and Local Climate Litigation for Protecting Public Health, and Supreme Court Limits on Power of U.S. Health Agencies. Sky McBride played a key role in launching the Pro Bono Initiative's prison legal site at the Utah State Correctional Facility, where she also served as one of 2 student directors. Sam Snell was the first Utah student to attend the college's Spring to DC program, in which he lived, worked, and took classes in Washington, D.C. for a semester. Andrew Fender is earning certificates of specialization in both litigation and business law, and mastering his own root beer recipe on the side. Right after his 1L finals, Spencer Dillon completed a backcountry ski traverse of the Sierra Nevada range called the Sierra Red Line Traverse. The journey took him more than 3 weeks, covered more than 200 miles, and took him from Lone Pine, California to south of Bridgeport, California to the north. Now, this does not even begin to capture the magnitude of the work of the class of 2025 and what you've already done. But it does give you a glimpse in all the great things that they are going to accomplish. The world is certainly a better place with them in it, and I am so very glad for you all. At the closing of my speech in previous years, I closed with a song that focused on the graduating class's word given by Dean Aguilar. Now, as you might imagine, finding a song focused on magnitude proved difficult. So instead, I have prepared an original song for you, which is set to the tune of Pomp and Circumstance, both because the song is very appropriate for today and because it is no longer subject to copyright protection. Professors Contreras and Anderson can let me know if I'm wrong. Cases, statutes, and briefs, the journey of knowledge beyond belief, standing together, you've made it through. The magnitude of justice you pursue. Class of 2025, your legal minds now come alive. With magnitude of truth and right, you'll shine your light so bright. From contracts to torts, you've learned it all. Constitutional rights, you'll stand tall. The magnitude of law you now hold. Your stories of justice soon to be told. As of 2025, your legal minds come alive. Congratulations, class of 2025. I simply can't wait to see all you're going to do as alumni. And remember, we love you.
Good morning. This doesn't fit. Oops. Hi, my name is Michelle Fournier, and I'm representing the in-person MLS class. I have to get to the right page first here. So when the organizers for today had asked for volunteers to speak at commencement, I thought, I've never done that. I could do that. So I said yes, and they replied, great, send us your speech. My speech? I don't know why I thought that they would write something and hand it to me to read, but they didn't. So instead, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about how I got here. The first time I applied to the University of Utah, it was due to peer pressure. Everybody else in high school was applying to colleges as well, and I was expected to, so I did. However, I had just squeaked through graduating from high school, and I could not imagine paying to do something I really didn't enjoy in the first place. Besides, I was 17, so I already knew everything. Eventually, I did figure it out. I saw the difference in opportunities a degree could make. So I went and earned my associate's degree in computerized accounting. Yes, it was that long ago. A few years after that, I got my bachelor's degree in human resources, and a few professional certifications followed, and I discovered in myself a real love of learning. The second time I applied to the U, I was ready for that next step. I had heard about this new Master of Legal Studies program, and I thought that would fit perfectly with my current position as Human Resources Manager and Corporate Compliance Officer. Unfortunately, that was the spring of 2020, and we all know how that turned out. Unfortunately, I had to put that dream on hold. In the fall of 2023, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. My prognosis was good, but cancer is a traumatic experience. It's an unexpected detour down a dirt road with poor paving. You know you'll get there eventually, but it's going to be a bumpy ride. I spent a lot of time on campus for tests and scans and surgery and more tests, and I kept thinking about that master's degree. The third time I applied at the U, nothing was going to stop me. Cancer is really good at reminding us that if you don't do it now, you may never get the chance. I took that chance with both hands, and here we are. It hasn't been easy. I've learned that I'm no good at inline citations, #footnotes forever. A good bit of research can keep you awake all night, so long you forget what you were looking for in the first place. There was no crying in contracts. And for some strange reason, bananas keep coming up in various case examples in different classes, possibly because Apple is trademarked. For all the difficulties, it has been a life-changing experience. A big part of that has been my fellow members of the MLS group. Dean Kronk-Warner mentioned that our average age was 37. Our group ranges from 21 to 66. The in-person cohort, there are only 3 men. They are badly outnumbered. We bonded over Professor Davies' exams and Professor Dreyer's quizzes, and more than once, a message in our group text chat saved me from missing a deadline or a test. I quite literally would not be here without you. Everyone has their own stories of first attempts and second starts that just didn't work out. That's just life. But I am here to tell you, if you keep at it, sometimes the third time really is the charm, even if it takes you 35 years to get there. Thank you.
Good morning, friends, family, faculty, and graduates. My name is Eliza Olsen-Nielsen, and I stand before you today representing the online cohort of the MLS program. It is an honor today not only to have the opportunity to speak, but also to be able to share the stage with all of the JD students who have worked so hard to be here. Shortly after taking office, the first president of our newly formed nation, George Washington, wrote to Edmund Randolph, the first Attorney General of the United States, and said, "Dear Sir, impressed with a conviction that the due administration of justice is the firmest pillar of good government, I have considered the first arrangement of the judicial department as essential to the happiness of our country and to the stability of our political system." Justice, he said, is the firmest pillar of government. As Washington reminds us, justice is not just a profession, it's a foundation. The legal field is our foundation as students, teachers, and professionals, and I am grateful to be surrounded by the people in this room, my fellow graduates, who are part of what holds that foundation up. We've studied case law, statutes, and regulatory frameworks, but we've also learned how to carry ourselves in difficult situations, how to think critically in uncertain situations, how to stay honest when it's easier not to be, how to serve those around us, and most importantly, we've learned how to strengthen and repair this foundation when it cracks. But let's be honest, we didn't build these pillars alone. We were strengthened by others around us, by families who supported us, partners who believed in us, and professors who challenged us. We also were strengthened by the classmates who became teammates, and we're grateful for them and all that they did for us. Every act of encouragement, every conversation that kept us going, those were the bricks that held up this foundation. We each arrived here for different reasons, but what matters more than where we came from is what we build moving forward. At the S.J. Quinney College of Law, we've trained not only in legal theory, but in how to lead with confidence, how to advocate with integrity, and how to advance the rule of law. These pillars are the pillars we are now tasked with carrying forward into the world. This world needs more courage. It needs people who will walk into difficult situations and choose what is right, not what's easy. James Madison, the father of the United States Constitution, once wrote, "If men were angels, no government would be necessary." The law exists because people are complicated, because people fall short, and because people disagree. That's exactly why our work here matters. We've been given the tools to understand the systems that shape our communities, and with that knowledge comes major responsibility, not only to the law itself, but to the people it's meant to serve. Regardless of where we're headed next, we share one fundamental belief: the rule of law matters. Fairness matters. Truth matters. And that justice, although imperfect, is worth striving for. There will be days ahead in our field that feel heavy, days when you're tired and when you feel that the system's broken or that your work doesn't matter. So when those days come, because I know they will for each of us, I hope you'll remember who you were at the beginning of this journey. Whether it was the undergraduate with a dream or the working professional seeking something more, the version of yourself I want you to remember most is the one who made a decision, the student who made a decision to change their mind from "I think I can" to "I know I can." Today we celebrate all of the students who made that decision and never looked back. So let's celebrate today, for tomorrow we begin our service to this nation with honesty, with courage, and with the reminder that the foundation of justice will only stand as strong as those willing to hold it up. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2025.
Hello, friends and family, deans, faculty, and staff, and class of 2025. My name is Adam Snow, speaking on behalf of the JD class of 25. The class of 2025 are obedient and diligent law students who will be pleased that my speech follows IRAC format. But I didn't say I was a good law student. So, like on one of my exams, I'm likely to lose all sense of organization about halfway through, go on a weird tangent, and run out of time. Anyhow, the call of the question was this: what lessons have you learned? What things do you hope our class brings to the legal profession? And what values have you developed during your legal education? The first lesson I learned is that it won't be pretty, but that the human body can survive on cold brew and granola bars for up to 2 weeks. But some lessons are more important than others. To that end, I'd like to share the 3 smartest things that people told me in law school. I hope that maybe some of you will find these 3 pieces of advice useful, and that our class may collectively bring them into the legal profession. Number 1, they let you in for a reason, so own it. This lesson harkens back to our first day of orientation. On that day, I got a bee sting on my hand while I was biking to school. Dean Aguilar introduced our class, people who had worked in prestigious law firms, served in the military, or conducted serious research. And then there was me, a reformed ski bum with ADHD and unruly hair, who didn't know very many lawyers at all, and who was now the owner of an increasingly swollen hand. And I thought to myself, I might have pulled off the heist of the century. I think they emailed the wrong Adam Snow. But at our swearing in, Dean Kronk Warner said something that I will never forget. The law school chose each and every one of us because of who we were on day 1. Not who we were pretending to be, not who we thought we should be, but who we were. So much of the unwritten rules of the legal profession are about conformity. You should dress a specific way, write a specific way, speak a certain way. And if you're like me, that might mean that you feel like you're playing dress up every time you put on a suit. But we weren't admitted to law school by accident, we didn't graduate by accident, and you don't have to become somebody else in order to belong in this profession. Class of 2025, be professional, be great advocates, take the profession seriously. But in doing that, I hope you bring you to the profession. Bring your intellect, bring your good humor, bring your passion for justice, because that's how you got here. Number 2, law school made you sharp, but it's your choice whether or not you cut somebody. My partner and I play a driving game called Horses and Graveyards. If you spot a horse first, it gets you a point, but graveyards wipe the other person back to 0. It's a great game, everyone should play it. But here's some free relationship advice for everybody. If your significant other calls graveyard on you, it is not a good idea to say, actually, if you look at the original Johnson's Dictionary from 1755, a graveyard is a small burial site next to a church. That is not next to a church. Therefore, it is not a graveyard. It is distinct from a graveyard, and I win. Law school has honed our ability to think critically, to dissect complex problems, and to apply law to fact with precision. It has trained us to be adversarial, to recognize the weaknesses in an argument, to pounce on it, and to craft our own argument with clarity and with force. I'm so incredibly thankful for these intellectual tools that the S.J. Quinney College of Law has imparted onto me. But just because you can win an argument doesn't mean you should. Outside the courtroom or the negotiation table, we're colleagues, role models, and hopefully we're also decent human beings. So let us not forget to be decent to one another. Class of 2025, wield your intellect wisely. Fight for justice, fight for your clients, fight for what's right, but don't forget that there's a time in argument and a time to let it go. Sometimes it's just better to take the loss on graveyards. Number 3, look at the mountains. Each of us has worked incredibly hard to get here. Moving fast, staying focused, setting goals, nose to the grindstone, that's who we are. But it's okay to take our noses out of our books and our eyes away from our screens, if only for a moment. So today, let us take a collective moment and stop. Let us look at the mountains and see how beautiful they are. And while we're stopped, let's take a moment to celebrate the people who got us here. Deans and faculty, thank you for creating an environment where we can learn and be challenged, and for occasionally accepting Alpass as an answer. Staff and librarians, thank you for the counseling and the ping pong and the candy and everything else that kept us going in ways big and small. To our loved ones, both present here today and who aren't here physically, yet whom we know are still here with us, thank you for your lessons, for your patience, and for never doubting us, even when we doubted ourselves. Finally, we wouldn't be law students without some self-congratulation, so let us take a moment and look just at how far we've come. Not just school, but everything else we carried along the way. Many of us balanced school with jobs. Many of us overcame mental health challenges. Many of you are parents. And we did it all while the world outside felt heavier than ever and reminded us every day why justice and advocacy and the rule of law matter. That's worth recognizing, so congratulations, class of 2025. That concludes the 3 rules I promised you, and hopefully you appreciated my analysis. But I also promised you a weird tangent. So if you know your Utah history, or if you're a water law dork like I am, you've probably heard of John Wesley Powell's expedition down the Colorado River in 1869. This was somewhat of a misadventure. They ran out of food and clothes. And after venturing through Utah and before descending into the Grand Canyon, Powell wrote, "We are now ready to start our way down into the great unknown. We have an unknown distance yet to run, an unknown river yet to explore. What falls there are, we know not. What rocks beset the channel, we know not. What walls rise over the river, we know not. Ah, well, we may conjecture many things. The men talk as cheerfully as ever. Jests are bandied about freely this morning, but to me the cheer is somber and the jests are ghastly. With some eagerness, some anxiety, and some misgiving, we enter the canyon below and are carried along by the swift water through walls which rise from its very edge." Class of 2025, congratulations on this passage into the great unknown. I imagine that like Powell, we are all feeling some combination of eagerness, anxiety, and misgiving. But I hope that the cheer that you feel today is real. Whatever hardships you may face in your career, I wish you all of the dumb luck that the Powell expedition experienced and none of the misfortune. I also hope you remember the 3 pieces of wisdom that were passed on to me and that I have passed on today. As we embark, let us remember that we belong, let us all be kind to one another, and let us all stop and appreciate the world around us sometimes. Class of 2025, I'm proud to know you.
Thank you, Avery. Good morning. I was the Student Bar Association president this last year. You can ask your graduates after the ceremony if they regret voting for me. First, congratulations to the class of 2025. While I admit it feels a little anticlimactic with bar prep approaching shortly, this is an accomplishment we should be proud of. It takes a lot of work, and you can't do it by accident. You can't do it alone either. I'm sure all of us have people in our lives that helped us get to this point. I know a lot of those people are here today. They might not have taken the exams or read the cases, but they helped you get through it. Make sure you tell those people what they mean to you. Now, since they gave me the mic, I get to immediately take my own advice. So shout out my mom and my dad for building me a life that enabled me to be up here today. Shout out my siblings who are here today, Mackenzie, Trey, and Kennedy, for being there through both the bad and the good and laughing through both. And shout out my little brother Luke, who died a little over 9 years ago. I wouldn't be the person that I am without him, and I think people should talk more about those that they lose. And I went out of order, but shout out again to my mom and my sister Mackenzie for letting me live rent-free for the last 3 years. I know I wasn't always the best roommate. Finally, I want to thank y'all, the class of 2025. I'm obviously biased, but I think we are awesome. I barely came to law school here, and I am so grateful that I did. I honestly applied to SJQ to appease my mom, who told me if I came here that I could live with her. So when I was visiting her once, I came to the law school to see if I could check out the building and talk to a couple current students. I came to find out that they do an admitted student stay for this, but I apparently missed that email. So I make it to the law school, and someone had left the 4th floor door open on the staircase that's usually locked to law students, and I snuck in and I talked to a couple students who were nice enough to answer some of my questions. On my way out, I saw a few people playing playing chess on the 2nd floor near the coffee shop. I thought 1 or 2 more opinions couldn't hurt, and so I asked them if they had a minute to talk about the law school. One of the players said, "Sure, but 1 sec." He then quickly put his opponent into checkmate. It was like 1 or 2 moves max, and he introduced himself to me. He said his name was Cliff. I quickly learned that Cliff was Professor Roski, a longtime faculty member at the law school. He walked me up to one of those classrooms with the big windows where you can look out at the mountains, and we talked about SJQ, my goals, and how they could fit together. He was obviously pretty persuasive. What I didn't expect was my classmates to be as kind as Professor Roski was that day. I heard stories and read internet posts about law school and law students being so cutthroat, and I was worried. When I got here, I never felt that. From day one, I remember community, not competitiveness, through one hell of a journey. I remember Kirsten Vandervelde making the group me before law school started and organizing pre-law school social events. On my first day of law school, my contracts professor gave us peppercorns to teach us about consideration. After class, I heard about the other contracts class where Eric Love had a very different experience. For Halloween during 1L, Bree Miller organized our entire contracts class to dress up as Professor Giuliano. It's now a tradition that the 1Ls copied us. I looked back at that picture and every single person participated. After 1L fall finals, over half the class celebrated together at Gracie's. After 3L spring finals, we did it again. We leaned on each other when grades were posted. And we also leaned on each other when grades were not posted. We played a whole lot of ping pong, some of us better than others. For us less skilled, we cheered on Matt Peterson to beat Professor Peterson in the Quinney Open. It never worked, but we cheered nonetheless. Mostly, I felt like my classmates weren't out to get me, but they were out to help me. There are many stories that illuminate this, but my favorite is a cold call that I bombed in evidence. I obviously didn't know the answer to the question that I was asked, and I couldn't find it in the passed down outline that could generally help you stumble through a cold call. Dean Heine, the outline is for the other evidence class. Now, blowing a cold call never gets easier, no matter how many times you do it. Trust me, I did it a lot. And I can confirm that this one was also not fun. What I should have done, though, was checked my texts on my laptop. where 3 of my classmates had each on their own texted me the answer to the question. So shout out Andrew Creer, Enrique Martinez, and Marielle Wilson. And shout out to anyone else who did it for someone who needed it this last 3 years. Now, this is the point in the speech where I'm supposed to tell you how to live your life. To be honest, I'm not sure I'm qualified to give any life-changing advice. We've had some wonderful people speak today, and I don't think I can add much. I'm just your classmate who's going back to Texas to be an ambulance chaser with his dad. I do know this, though. For how much I just romanticized our law school experience, there were parts that objectively sucked. There were bad days and there were worse days. Days when life happened and we still had to do law school. Days where personally I wondered if I was built for it, if I could do it. But on those days when law school sucked, my classmates didn't. We looked out for each other, whether it was convenient or not. We shared notes, we shared outlines, and we checked in on each other. As we enter practice, I know we won't see each other as often. Some of us will very rarely see each other at all. I am one of those people. As this journey comes to an end, I am mourning the loss of the community that I have so enjoyed the last 3 years. And it hurts. But mostly, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all of it. So while some change is inevitable, I ask you each to do your best, not to let the fact that we are graduating, not to let the fact that we'll be in different cities, and not to let the fact that we will be making money change how we treat each other. Look out for yourself, look out for each other, and look out for the world around you. Godspeed, and thank you.
Thank you to our incredible student speakers for sharing your reflections, your stories, and your vision for the future. Your words have truly captured the magnitude of this graduating class, resilient, driven, and full of promise. As we turn the page to the next chapter of today's ceremony, it is now our honor to welcome a distinguished leader whose career embodies the values of public service, integrity, and impact. Our keynote speaker, Commissioner Melissa Holyoke. She is the Commissioner of the Federal Trade Commission. Holyoke graduated from the University of Utah in 2000 with a Bachelor's of Arts and from its S.J. Quinney College of Law in 2003 with a Juris Doctor degree. As a law student, Holyoke was editor of the Utah Law Review and graduated with an Order of the Coif membership. From 2003 to 2008, Holyoke was an associate in the Washington, D.C. office of the law firm of O'Melveny & Myers, while her husband attended medical school in Baltimore. Holyoke became a part-time public interest attorney with the Center for Class Action Fairness in 2012. She served as president and general counsel of Hamilton Lincoln Law Institute, a Washington, D.C. public interest firm representing consumers challenging unfair class actions and regulatory overreach. Holyoke was one of the successful petitioners in the 2019 Supreme Court case of Frank versus Gauss. In September 2020, Holyoke became the Utah Solicitor General with the Utah Attorney General's Office, where she manages the civil appeals, criminal appeals, constitutional defense, and special litigation, and antitrust and data privacy divisions. In this capacity, she oversees merger reviews, data privacy, and antitrust enforcement actions, and provides leadership on consumer protection matters. Holyoke was nominated by U.S. President Joe Biden in July of 2023 to serve as a member of the Federal Trade Commission. Her nomination was confirmed by the Senate on May 7, 2024. Please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Commissioner Holyoke.
Wow, thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. Good morning. Wow, thank you to Dean Kronk-Warner for inviting me to speak to you. I am truly, truly honored, and it is so good to see all of your faces. I was happy to stand down and watch you walk past. It was fun to get to see all of you. And before I start, I have to say what a great job the student speakers did. Michelle, Eliza, Adam, and Seth. It's fantastic. And now I know who to turn to when I have to write my future speeches. So great. So 22 years ago, I was sitting right where you were, listening to the speaker, and never would I have imagined that I would be here today to deliver the commencement speech. Of course, I don't really remember the commencement speech, and I really don't expect you'll remember this in 20 years. But hopefully I can share just a couple of pieces of real-world advice that might help you in the coming years. You're now lawyers. Welcome. Welcome to the club. And like Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, you're now experts in using legal jargon in everyday life. It can be really useful. So for example, nearly everything can be blamed on force majeure. You forget to pick up your kid from lacrosse practice, force majeure. You burn dinner, force majeure. Try it. I believe no one's going to challenge you on it. So for most of you, this is the end of your journey as a student in a traditional classroom. And I want you to think back to your first time you entered a classroom. Go all the way back to your first day of kindergarten. Some of you, I think, some of your pictures were up there earlier. Now picture your little 5-year-old self entering that classroom, walking into that room. Now, I know many of you have your parents and loved ones, and turn around and look at your parents and loved ones. Turn around, find them, see them. See if they can picture yourself. Are they crying, thinking about you and that 5-year-old self? Well, I wanted to, every good speech has an opportunity where people cry, so we wanted to get that out of the way right up front. When you started kindergarten, you likely were introduced to new surroundings, new routines, new classroom rules. Kindergarten class rules are simple and timeless, and they have equal application today as you begin your legal career. So here are 4 classroom/life rules that I wanted to share with you as you begin this journey. First, try new things. I remember vividly sitting during orientation, very similar to what Adam experienced, and we went around the room, and Dean Kogan had us go around and tell each other what we were hoping, what kind of law we were hoping to practice. And I was surprised by the number of students who said that they wanted to work in public interest law. At that time, I had been married just a few months, my husband here of 25 years, and we were so poor. We did not have 2 pennies to rub together. So when it came my turn to say what I wanted to practice, I said, I just want to make some money. Little did I know then that I would spend the majority of my career in public interest and public service. While it was never the plan, I feel so incredibly lucky that my plans fell apart. You'll have many people tell you to follow your passion. And sometimes you may just be lucky enough to have your passion find you. My path to public interest and public service was not a straight line. When I was graduating from law school, it felt like I was at the starting line of a race. I'm sure you might feel like this right now. You're just waiting for that starter pistol to go off so you can sprint into your legal career. And I started mine at a big law firm. I thought the track was just a straightaway. All I had to do was work hard, and I would reach my goal of being a great litigator. But after the starting pistol fired, I found that the path was curvy and often obscured. And as I navigated that path, it was critical that I was open to reinventing myself and open to engaging in new areas of law. At the time, I had intended to do general litigation, but I was offered the opportunity to work with the transactional group on mergers and acquisitions, which I did for 6 months. I was hesitant at the time. I did not come to the firm to be a deal lawyer, but the experience turned out to be important to my later career. Fast forward 12 years later, I am the Solicitor General of Utah, And my boss, the Attorney General, comes in and tells me that I'm going to be overseeing Utah's antitrust and data privacy enforcement work. And to my knowledge, I don't think there's any Solicitor General in the country who oversees antitrust. And to be a good antitrust lawyer, you have to understand deals. My early training on M&A work, where I saw how deals were put together, was a tremendous aid to my antitrust and data privacy work as a Solicitor General, and really created the foundation for the work I do today. The FTC's mission is to protect consumers from anti-competitive behavior and fraud. And a huge part of that work involves understanding whether transactions will hurt consumers. Back then, I would have never known that that transactional work would have prepared me for what I do today. So you may have, right now, you're just about to start your careers, you may have the perfect vision of what you're going to do. You maybe have mapped it out in your head. But I'm just going to tell you, don't panic if at some time you find yourself entirely off that map. It's okay. Be open to new plans and challenging or even overwhelming opportunities. Be open to plans failing. In fact, embrace that uncertainty. It will make you a better lawyer. The best lawyers I know are not the ones that have every case and statute memorized in their field. They're the ones with the best judgment. They've learned from their past experiences, wins and losses, and have the humility to apply the lessons they've learned. Second rule, try your hardest. When I was a young associate at a big law firm, I was assigned to a large document review project. I still remember walking into this conference room, and it was just lined with rows and rows of boxes. And after several days working on the project, my supervisor, Paul, said to me, "You know, Melissa, you remind me of this story, this young boy named Johnny. This boy, Johnny, was placed in this big room that was just full of poop." And he, of course, used a different word, but this is a family group, family setting today. And they left Johnny in there for hours. They went back to find Johnny running around and playing in the poop. And they said, "Johnny, what are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I figured with this much poop, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere." When Paul told me the story, I was not sure if it was a compliment or whether he was telling me I was being annoyingly positive about this project. But wherever you end up, a conference room, an office, a courtroom, one day at some point, you will feel like you are in a room, thrown in a room just like Johnny was. And though thanks to technology, you should not be in a room full of boxes. It'll be just computers, and you'll be clicking away. But my advice to you, be Johnny. Search for the pony. Give it your all. Put your back into it, or your clicking finger if you're doing a document review, and put your heart into it. And yes, I mean put your heart into it. Fall in love with the law. When you fall in love with the law, it changes your perspective on everything. If you're doing a document review or a similar task, you might somehow feel that you're just this factory worker making a machine part, and you don't even understand how it works in the machine or what machine you're even making. But when you put everything into your work, you start to see the bigger picture of every component and how it all fits together, and you become the designer of the machine. And when I say fall in love with the law, I mean all of it. You may just happen to find yourself someday, like I did, in a bankruptcy CLE that has nothing to do with your practice, but you're a week from the CLE deadline, and you need the credit. You have two choices. Pay attention, pick up a thing or two that might be interesting, or sneak in a couple of games of Block Blast. Those are your options. My advice to you is be curious. Be curious and just fall in love with the law. Third rule, ask for help. While you should try new things and try your hardest, that doesn't mean you are supposed to do it alone. When you need help, ask for it. Don't be afraid to ask for help wherever you are, even in your daily tasks. I always greatly appreciate when the attorneys I'm working with come to me and are asking clarifying questions so that we're on the same page and we know the best approach to take for the task at hand. But even more generally, don't be afraid to ask for advice on how to approach your career and just lawyer life. I have relied on friends and mentors to help guide me along the way, and I have been a friend and mentors to others. Two of them are right here. I have my friend Dan Burton and Tyler Green. Tyler was the Solicitor General of Utah, Dan, General Counsel to the Attorney General, and they have been amazing friends over these last 5 years, and just critical friendships to my career and my life. But I've also, and I want to tell Seth, your community that you're creating now does not have to end. A lot of my greatest friends have been ones that I graduated from law school, and we have remained close, even though they're not here today, so they're dead to me now. But building those relationships takes work. Spend time investing in those friendships. Do not work through every lunch in your office. Go make friends. The legal bar is very small. It's very small in Salt Lake City, but you will also find, even if you're in a certain practice area, even nationally, it will feel very small. At some point, you will need a friend, and at some point, you will be that friend. The fourth and final rule, classroom rule, do not disrupt. This is one classroom rule I want you to ignore. As an FTC commissioner, we enforce the federal competition laws. We love fierce competition. We love when a disruptor comes in and overcomes barriers and turns the marketplace on its head. Some examples are the Ford Model T in 1908, the iPhone in 1907, the Peloton bike in 2014, which revolutionized where I keep my clothes in my bedroom. But really, be a disruptor in whatever you do. Be creative and innovative. You may offer a new way to look at a problem. You may provide thought leadership on a new issue. The disruptors are the cure to complacency. They push us to grow. Well, so hopefully I've given you a few things to think about as you start this new journey. There will be times where you will doubt yourself. And I love what Adam talked about in terms of remembering now why you were picked for law school. But you will doubt yourself even on simple tasks like making a phone call or sending an email. I remember shortly after graduating, when I was working at the large firm, I was asked to send an email to a client. And so I tortured myself for an hour over this 2-sentence email to make sure I didn't make any spelling errors or punctuation mistakes. I was just terrified. After reviewing it for a long period of time, I sent it. No spelling errors, but I forgot to include the attachment. And I was mortified. Of course it was a silly mistake, but I, at the time, thought I would be fired from the case. I catastrophized over nothing. And at some point, you will too, and it will be okay. Well, class is over for you. I want to give you just one last homework assignment. Go down to the courthouse and just watch the lawyers in action for an hour. What I hope you will see is that this is something that you can absolutely do. So when the imposter syndrome thoughts creep in on you, I want you to think back to the time, that time in court, and so you'll remember that you can do this. I will end with just one more quote from the greatest legal drama of my generation. As Elwood said, you must always have faith in people, and most importantly, you must always have faith in yourself. Thank you.
And now the conferring of the degrees. Will the candidates please stand? By virtue of the authority vested in me by the people of Utah, acting through their representatives in the legislature and on the State Board of Regents, and on the recommendation of the faculty of the university and the university's Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Legal Studies, the degree of Master of Laws, and the degree of Juris Doctor, which entitles you to all the rights, privileges, and honors thereto appertaining. Congratulations. You may be seated, and we will award the diplomas.
Those receiving a Master of Legal Education, Jennifer Erickson. Abby Hirschberg. Norma L. Erickson. Casey Jensen. Chris Bosley. Sean Wood. Mark Ward. Lauren Lutz. Bethany Burnside. Susanna Pettis Londena. Karen Cortez. Christina Rodriguez. Karen Silva. Mikkel Oldbull. Michelle Fournier. Eliza Olson Nielsen. Janet Stewart. Shannon Deanna King. Amy Johnson. Barbara Ramos Cryer. Michelle Chapman Blake. Maeve Griffin. Darcy Lynn Weisman. Mona Jean Mahelani Tasinga. Lauren Paul Husselby. Vanessa Wygand. Brian Stoll. Teray Moore Board. Tara Mulberry Board. Samuel Mills. The following individuals will be receiving their Juris Doctor. Andrew Creer. Chantel Coons Black. Natalie Merline. Lauren Harvey. Paisley Triple Hawk. Rosalie Rollins Greenberg. Emma Claire Nover. Grace Collins Green. Vivian Sajad. Kirsten Vandervelde. Lauren Nicole Finch. Landon Robert Evans. Keith Salin. Noah Shepherdson. Parker Airmet. Paulina Giselle Barbosa. Maggie Hawley. Paige Sanders. Amber Lundgreen. Kiwi Hogan. Haley Kendall. Ashley Rain Coford. Nathan Miki Bramhall. Enrique Martinez. Eben Coates. Max von Schmeling. Avery Emery. Austin Edens. Seth LaPrey. Katie Menlove. Elizabeth Cravens. Vivian Reed. Mariel Wilson Waters. Heidi Ann Sorensen. Dorothy Sue Smith. Bella Miles. Gabrielle Anguiano. James Adam Snow. Zach Colangelo.
Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay.
Paul
but
Helms.
I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness, hilarious. You think you're worth my time, you're delirious, mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior, inferior. You know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble
Justin
brag.
Hart.
I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone.
Andrew Fender.
I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a
Jacob
statement.
Marks.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could
Joshua
play
Allen.
games, but instead of stay, something not illogical, something that is technical. Grab it on and let you go. Make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a colossal
Bryant Holloway.
great one day, going off on my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it. I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind.
Caden Goodenough.
I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
Connor DeFries. Laura Dunn. Kennedy Kawaguchi. Molly Dawson. Amber N. Ellis. Aaliyah Catherine Bench. Eric Love. Lindsay May Spiro. Hannah Grace Bashi. Matthew Peterson. Jacob Romney. Chase Bergener. Peter Red. Leighton Parker. Jeremy Pratt. Logan Ellsworth. Wyatt Ellis. Margaret Miner. James Hiram Whiting. Holden Thomas Frower. Samuel Casey Hunter. Tanner Jason Wills. Lieutenant Reed Yunt. Nico Micheletti. Tess Reed Peterson. Emily Ann Strong. Maria Catalano. Mackenzie Sky McBride. Elizabeth Diane Gilchrist. Spencer Diane Williams. Jessica Guardiola. Zoe Lemon Kozlowski. Anna My Angel Heaton. Rachel Prickett Passy. Rebecca Lee Huber. Jameson Smith. Sophie Laswell. Brandon Russell Hansen. Haley Robertson. Bree Miller. Haley R. Wynn Cotton. Courtney Nicole Gamangasso. Jade Trin Lumen. Truman Henderson. One more round of applause for our class of 2025.
Now, everyone, please, I ask that you give it your all in recognizing this outstanding class of 2025. Now, thank you all for joining us today in this celebration of accomplishments and new beginnings. Now, before we close, graduates, I would like to provide you a chance to recognize one more very special group of folks with us today. Graduates, I ask you to rise again. Turn to the audience. These are the people that helped to get you to the achievement we are recognizing today. With your applause and cheers, would you please let your wives, husbands, spouses, partners, children, parents, grandparents, family members, and friends know how much you appreciate them? Now that concludes our convocation. If you are able to attend, I invite you all to join us at the College of Law for a party celebrating our graduates. I know everyone, one last time, congratulations, class of 2025.